And we are live. What is going on, LBHT crew? This is another pop-up stream. Yes. I even gave B a shorter notice. I didn't give him as short of a notice as I did last time. Last time was really was an impromptu live stream. This one I gave him a little bit of a heads up. We're gonna try this again. I'm not gonna try to do 2 hours like I did last week. But yes, Bazel, I'm here. What's going on? Thanks for coming through. Yeah, you guys are used to these weekend streams, and I figure I'd give you a little something, as the season starts to wind down. The AFC Championship game is going on right now. The New England Patriots just tied it up with the Broncos 7-7. They literally shot themselves in the foot. They had a chance to go up 10-0 and really hold that lead as long as they're not making mistakes. But you got Jarrett Stidham in, and with the backup, you gotta expect some mistakes, and that's what happened. They turned the ball over in the red zone, and the Patriots converted that to a touchdown. So a 7-7 with just over 2 minutes left, and we'll see what the Broncos end up doing with the ball. It looks like, well, first play doesn't look good, so we'll see. Can they pull off the upset? Who knows? Let me give a shout out to the chat here. Jared's in the house. Salute, Jared. Thanks for coming through. Jonathan Washington Jr., salute. We got Stretch in the house. What's going on, Stretch? Salute to you. We got Raven76 B More. Salute. Jay, salute. What's going on, my friend? We got Killer Cam. Says Ola Jose. Ola Cam. Ashley, salute. Thanks for coming through. We got, I think we got everybody. Okay. Yeah, they got cute. They got cute killer. They got cute. Grails, what's going on? Says, what's happening from Hawaii? Man, tell you what. Yeah. What's happening is it's a snow. I'm literally snowed in. I can't even get out of my house right now. About to send the older kids out there to make something happen in that driveway. But even if we get the driveway cleared out, which we will, the main roads are still pretty bad. So nobody's going anywhere tonight. Nobody's going anywhere tomorrow. Schools are already closed. Actually, around here, schools closed tomorrow and Tuesday because this whole week is going to be below freezing. So none of that snow is going to melt. Excuse me. What's going on, Hendo? Thanks for coming through. Yeah. Surprise stream. I'm going to try not to make it 2 hours this time. I just want to do a quick stream. Talk about, some more coaching updates. You can see in the thumbnail, the Steelers hired Mike McCarthy. And if you don't recognize the other coach that's wearing a Ravens hat, that is Joe Cullen. Joe Cullen used to be the D-line coach, I believe, back in the day. And he's being interviewed to be the defensive coordinator now under new head coach Jesse Minter. Excuse me. Zeke, what's going on? Thanks for coming through. Raven76 says, thank God I live in South Florida. No cold weather. Man. Beast from the bottom says, what's up from Haiti? Okay, salute to Haiti. That's what I'm talking about. That damn Dub says, finally, goofball is gone. No one been praying on that more than me. It's time to win us a damn Super Bowl now. Hashtag real flock. What's up, Darius? Appreciate y'all coming through, man. Yeah. And it looks like the Steelers got their version of Harbaugh. And if you watch this show long enough, you've heard me say it a few times that John Harbaugh is nothing more than Mike McCarthy wearing purple and with a better PR team. And if you look at their stats, you look at their record, it's identical all the way down to one Super Bowl. Okay. Regular season wins, playoff wins, Super Bowl wins, all identical. What's the difference between the two of them? Nothing. One gets praised as a elite coach and the other one doesn't. At one point, Mike McCarthy was kind of regarded as such. I think the I think the difference in quarterbacks in terms of one's a true diva and one isn't is what kind of soured people on Mike McCarthy, because Aaron Rodgers is, he's vocal about, not liking his coaches, or, when he doesn't think they're doing a good job or whatnot. Like, he's a jerk. He's a jerk. He's gotten coaches fired. He got Robert Saleh fired with the Jets. Like he's very vocal about that. Lamar Jackson isn't, and also Lamar Jackson's a black quarterback. So if he came out there and criticized John Harbaugh, it would be a negative against him, not John Harbaugh. But if it were a white quarterback, if it were Josh Allen on this Ravens team and he was calling out John Harbaugh would he would kind of get that reputation of not being as good. You know what I'm saying? He'd get criticized a little bit more than he does. But Aaron Rodgers can do that to Mike McCarthy, and it sticks with them. But him and Harbaugh are pretty much the same coach. So, but hey, welcome to the AFC North. Let's see. Ray Coon. I'm not sure if I said that right. It says, nice of the Steelers to agree with Jose's take about McCarthy and Harbaugh. Hey, I'll say this. If any of you guys watch boxing, we used to cover boxing on this channel, and then we started a Ring Kings channel. In boxing, when you have an up and coming fighter, like somebody that looks really promising, he's a nice young talent, could be a world champion even at a really young age. You start them out slow. You start them out against some guys that can't really give them a challenge, but you go out there and give them some good work, right? Then when you think they're at a good enough point, what you do is you put that fighter in there with what you call like a gatekeeper, right? One of these fighters that he's done being a world champion. He might be a former champion. He's done being great, but he's still a solid fighter. He's going to go in there and basically he's going to challenge that young fighter. That's that first real test for that young fighter. Can he get over that hump? Can he beat that gatekeeper, right? If he's good enough, yeah, his skills, like it'll push him to go past that guy, knock him out, or just win convincingly, and then that kind of puts that fighter on the map. Like, hey, this guy right here, he's a real deal. Or you can end up losing and getting exposed a little bit, or just, hey, you're not quite ready yet. You need to put in some more work. That is Mike McCarthy for Jesse Minter. Okay. Mike McCarthy is going to be that gatekeeper for Jesse Minter, because Mike McCarthy isn't a bad coach. He's just not a great coach. And, you put him on a team that does, look, they don't have a quarterback. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going back there next year. They need help on the O-line. They need some work. So they're a team that's kind of in a rebuild mode with the average coach. So they should be beatable. But Mike McCarthy does know how to coach, right? So if you go in there and you're not that great of a coach, he can outcoach you in some of these games. He's got the experience. So is Jesse Minter ready for that? We're going to find out. That's going to be his first real test. All right. What else we got in here? Charles, what's going on? Says Canton was talking about McCarthy / Harbaugh and how McCarthy gets no love. Canton. Who's Canton? Is that I don't know who Canton is. But yeah, McCarthy doesn't get any love. He's right. He or she is right. That's just what it is. When he's with the Cowboys, they won 12. Was he 3 years? He was there 3 years. The first 2 years, he won 12 games apiece. So, he can coach. They have a lot more talent over there. SV Cam, what's going on? Thanks for coming through. What else we got in here? Look, I'm trying to make this not a 2-hour stream this time. Trying to not make this a 2-hour stream. We're just watching a little football. Giving you guys a quick update. Tomorrow, the plan is still to go live in the morning. Give you guys a 6:15 a.m. Live stream, as long as the power holds up. Okay, some areas power has gone out. We have been fortunate for that to not happen. Fingers crossed, If everything is good, you'll see me in the morning. All right. If not, there won't be any notification. You'll just see that I'm not here. But just giving you that heads up right now. All right. Grail says Mentor has plenty of good coaches to choose from. I'm not worried. I'm glad Harbs is taking them bums. Yeah. Let's see here. My brother and his family are out there. Oh, you're talking about Connecticut? I saw you talking to Zeke. Yeah. Excuse me, y'all. What's going on, Garrison? Thanks for coming through. Denard Wilson to the Giants as defensive coordinator. Is that a done deal? Is that a done deal? What's going on, Ryan Christensen? Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Appreciate you coming through. We just hanging out for a few minutes. Is Denard Wilson to the Giants a done deal? I think that's Franklin says yes. Okay. That's crazy. That's crazy that you're not bringing back. He's not bringing Zach Orr with him. Zach Orr's looking at other jobs. He's interviewing at other jobs. But why didn't you bring back Zach Orr? That's my thing. If he was good enough here, you didn't want to make a change. Why are you trying to make a change now? You're like, he's bringing back everybody else. He's bringing back all his other people. Why aren't you bringing Zach Orr back? That says something. That, like, I would have expected Harbaugh, who could handpick whatever job he wanted, made all these demands. He's the highest paid coach. He's got basically the same power as the GM. I would have thought that he would have said, oh, by the way, I'm bringing my whole entire coaching staff intact with me. We're not making any changes. He could have done that. So why didn't he do that? Weren't they looking at Weaver too? Yeah, I think he was looking at Weaver. Weaver's going to get he's going to get some offers. Weaver's he's pretty much established himself as a solid defensive coordinator, if not a good defensive coordinator. So he won't have a problem getting a job. Zach Orr, I still wouldn't be surprised if he ends up coaching with Harbaugh, just not as a coordinator. He might go back if he doesn't get a job anywhere. He might go back there as a linebackers coach or something like that. Work his way up, because Harbaugh takes care of his friends. I will give him that. He takes care of his friends. He will not leave Zach Orr on the street. But I just think it's crazy that he thought he was going to come back here next year, run everything back, and not make any coaching changes whatsoever. Because even Warhop, I think Warhop is with them too, right? He's bringing on George Warhop. That's crazy. All right, where are we at with this game? 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. Third down, 3rd and 4. Where are the Broncos? Are they in field goal range? They have no timeouts. We'll see here. The Broncos, they could win this game, y'all. They could win this game. The only touchdown that the Patriots have had is off of that turnover. They have not shown the ability to move this ball on this defense. I don't know. Jared is throwing it away. Yeah. Missed field goal. Okay, you guys are a little ahead of me then. You're ahead of me. Because it's still 3rd and 4th right now. And Jared still just ran it out of bounds. Yeah, lost a yard for no reason. Just throw it away. So, yes, Mike McCarthy to the Steelers. And I'm not worried about that. I wouldn't care who they have gotten, to be honest. I know people are like, oh, thank goodness. I don't care who it was, right? I worry about the Ravens. What's Jesse Minter going to do with his coaching staff? What are we going to do in the offseason with free agency and the draft? We have the talent. We have one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the league. I don't care what these other teams do. It's about us. What's going on, Imani? Says, where is the touchdowns? In this game, look, man, whatever Jared Stidham gets you, that's what he gets you. Now, Drake May, he was supposed to be supposed to be an MVP candidate. I need to see more. I'm pulling for Mike Macdonald to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, me too. But you know, I like the Seahawks. I like the Rams. You know, I can't say I like the Patriots or the Broncos. You know, Adelia is a Broncos fan, so for her, I root for the Broncos. But yeah, I mean, I'm whatever. I'm not really rooting for anybody outside of Ravens to win a Super Bowl. But you know, I'm cool with any of these teams. If they're the Steelers, I feel a certain way. If it were the Bills, even though I like Josh Allen, and eventually I like to see him win a Super Bowl, I want Lamar to win the Super Bowl before Josh Allen. Right? Just for and it has nothing to do with Josh Allen or the Bills. It has to do with the mainstream media. You know. So, you know, I just like seeing good football. Let's see. Wonder if Horton gone means we lose Randy Brown. I don't know. We'll find out here soon, though. FD says I'm worried more about offense than anything. We'll see. They haven't really hinted towards any offensive coordinators yet, from what I understand. I know the rumor was Cliff Kingsbury, but that's just a rumor. It started by Diana Rossini, and from what I could tell, she's backed off of that. Listen, this is the thing I hate about mainstream media. They can go out there and just pretty much tell a lie, right? She was out there saying that, Lamar and some wide receivers she knew for a fact were, you know, really campaigning for Cliff Kingsbury to be here. And nobody else has substantiated that. She's kind of walked that back a little bit. And it's like, but you said you knew for a fact. So why aren't you standing on that? You know what I mean? There hasn't been any talk about Cliff Kingsbury coming here. He hasn't gotten any interviews that I know of. So why would you even put that out there? Like, you can just say whatever you want, and there's no consequence for it. I can't stand that. But Kingsbury, I don't think he's going to end up here. I know everybody wanted Shield House. The talk is he is a finalist or the favorite to get the head coaching job with the Browns if he wants it. I know it's a lot of coaches have been turning that down. And let me tell you something, man. I don't blame them. They have about 4 of their starting 5 offensive linemen as free agents. You're already off to a bad start. You have a quarterback situation that is probably not going to change. If you like Shedeur Sanders, you think you could develop him, that's one thing. If you're like, I don't know about this guy, that's another thing, because they can't get rid of him. Shedeur is going to be the starter next year, most likely. You know, they might pick up somebody off the street that can beat him out for the job, but most likely you're looking at Shedeur, and Deshaun Watson's still on the team. They can't get rid of him. So that cap is just there. So they are in a bad way. So, you know, first-time head coach, I can understand not wanting to take that job. So we'll see. And what's going on says they're not about to write essays for that job. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, that's the other thing too, right? They're doing they're making them do like some analytics thing. Oh, Patriots missed a field goal as well. Okay. Hey, listen, the Patriots, we sit here talking about the Broncos can't be making mistakes. They got to play mistake-free football. The Patriots need to play mistake-free football in this game. You don't want to mess around here Mile High and give up points. You don't want to do that. But yeah, I heard that about them making them do some analytical stuff or something. I don't know. They giving them some sort of test. And yeah, if you're a coach and you're looking at that team, like, where do you get off? Who are you? You know, like, where do you get off trying to make me jump through all these hurdles for this job? There are plenty of opportunities out there, right? What do you feel about Caden Proctor as Lamar Jackson's left tackle? That's from Dresden. I don't know. I have to consult with some offensive line experts Coach Evans from Sip to Tally Films, my man Chris Just Joking from Deep Cover Podcast. They break down a lot of these prospects. Caden Proctor, I've heard that name floated out there. If he can play, cool. I wouldn't mind. What I would like to see is us go for 2 veteran guards in free agency. So before we even get to the draft, we don't have to worry about guard play. We sign Linderbaum, we get our 2 guards. If we don't do anything more than that, our O-line is good. Ronnie Stanley's still good. He's been playing through injuries and he hasn't played great. And also he's playing next to bad players, right? Offensive line has to play as a unit. So if we solidify the guard unit, I think everybody will be fine. But yes, you want to start making plans to move on from Ronnie Stanley because he is a little bit older. I don't know how much longer he can play. Maybe he could play for a while longer. Trent Williams is still playing at a high level, but although he gets hurt a little bit more too. But if the plan is to move on from Ronnie Stanley, yes, you have to draft a left tackle, and you got to draft him fairly high, and he's got to be able to contribute now. He doesn't have to be a starter. He can be a swing tackle. He can be a rotational guy, something, and then work his way to left tackle or start out at guard. So I wouldn't mind them doing that in the first round. Still get at least 1 guard in free agency, and then in the first round, get somebody that can play guard now and kick out to tackle later. So that's Bitonio from the Browns. Yeah, Bitonio's from the Browns. There's about 4 guys that are starting or have started for the Browns O-line this year that are free agents. Also, there's another person I was looking at. The free agency list for the Chargers, right? Because our coach just came from the Chargers. What's going on, Yolanda? Appreciate you coming through. Make sure y'all subscribe to Ravens Talk with Yolanda. Coaches like to poach guys from other teams, or they like to bring their guys along. I should say that. They like to bring their guys along that they know, okay, he knows my system, or I know this guy, just work with them. Let's bring him over here. Obviously, on defense, there's some guys I think that he might look to bring over here, like Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack's a little older. He's not the same Khalil Mack that he used to be, but Khalil Mack knows Jesse Minter's system. He can hit the ground running. So that's somebody that I would look at. But Zion Johnson, who's a guard, he's a starting guard. He's a free agent. If the Chargers don't bring him back, which I don't know. I mean, some of these guys are going to get signed. But if he doesn't, maybe Jesse Minter can talk him into coming over here and signing over here. And that solves one of the problems instantly, right? So there are options at guard in free agency. There's a lot of options this year, more so than normal, because it's hard to get good offensive linemen in free agency. You got to pay money for them, and they go quick. All right. What's going on, Ferris? It says, ha, 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 ha. You think you getting Khalil Mack? That's cute. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we get Khalil Mack? What's cute about that? You think if he goes into free agency, you can only tag one person, and I don't think they're going to tag Khalil Mack. What is he, 35 now? He's an older player. You think if he hits free agency, he wouldn't want to sign with his recent defensive coordinator in Baltimore? Of course, yeah, they can get that done. I don't think he's going to get top dollar at this point. KP, what's going on? Says, hey, man, you've seen the streaming spirit. Oh, you've been in the streaming spirit lately. Always appreciate more streams. Well, look, last year, I mean, me and B, we tried to give you we tried to give you war. It just wasn't happening, right? I had a lot going on. We were kind of in a slump. We were still giving you the Wednesday show. We'll give you little videos here and there, but we've been trying to give you more. The plan was to give you guys more content for a while. Us, Hendo, Yolanda, like Coach Evans, we all talk about this stuff all the time, and it was just tough. It was just tough, especially with me, man. Like, I had 3 kids graduating. You know what I'm saying? 2 kids and a stepson graduating last year. So it was a lot on my plate. But now I was like, okay, this season we dedicated ourselves to giving you more content. So we're trying to do that, and you guys have really been supporting us. So that makes a world of difference. Like it's easier to do these things if as long as the support is there. If we're putting out all this stuff and the the engagement isn't high. Yeah, that's a little bit tougher. But look, I mean, right now we got over 100 people in this live stream. I appreciate that. Hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. But yeah, and the morning stream was something that Hendo and I had talked about doing last year, maybe even before that. We talked about that. B was always out on the morning stream. B was never going to do that with us. But Hendo was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it." Because I already get up early for work, and I figured, okay, as long as it's something that is quick and doesn't really take up my time in the morning, I can do it. So we tested out this year and it's working fine. So you're getting it. All right. I feel you. Hey, yeah, I appreciate that. You think Minter will try to bring back Owe? I talked to B about that and I said I wouldn't be surprised, but Owe is this is his first contract or second contract. He's going to try to make as much money as possible, I would think. So that won't be here. I don't think the Ravens are going to make him a big offer. I think how he performed with the Chargers, especially in the playoffs, there'll be teams that will be willing to offer him a lot more money than we would. Khalil Mack isn't going to make that same kind of money. So I think we're more likely to get Khalil Mack than Owe. So Carmen says he doesn't want him. I wouldn't mind. I didn't want us to get rid of Owe. I thought we should have picked up his 5th-year option. He had 10 sacks last year. No, he wasn't playing great for us. Nobody was playing great. That's a coaching thing. Like, I don't think Kyle Hamilton played great either. Not to his standard, right? I don't think. Well, Malachi Starks didn't do anything. I don't think Malachi Starks sucks. Mike Green didn't do anything. I don't think Mike Green sucks. Matabike, I know everybody was like, hey, we were, that was a big loss for us when Matabike went down. And yeah, it is in general, but we were giving up 40 points when Matabike was starting, when he was in the game. Everybody played bad. Nobody looked great. I think with somebody like Jesse Minter, it was a scheme. That's right. It was that or a scheme. And players didn't want to throw him under a bus. That speaks to how much they like him. But nobody understood what was going on. I'm gonna tell y'all this too. I don't even think Marlon Humphrey is washed. I know a lot of y'all hate Marlon Humphrey. I don't think he's washed. Yes, he got beat a lot. I think he was playing out of position. Marlon Humphrey isn't one of those corners that can play outside anymore, not in between the 20s. He's not that guy. He can get beat deep. You can't put him on that X or Z wide receiver and they go streaking down the field and you got him on man-to-man coverage. You can play him in the zone. You can play him in the slot. When he does his best work. What's going on, Jesalo? He does his best work in the red zone. He made a lot of plays for us then. He can cover that field, no problem. He can read the quarterback. I think he's still valuable. He was just in a bad scheme. He's a victim of a bad scheme. And I know he's getting paid a lot of money. We'll see what happens this year. Maybe he restructures. If he restructures, I have no problem bringing him back. But I do not think Marlon Humphrey is completely washed. Spiritual War Exposed says, right, Marlon was the only one consistently causing turnovers. Yeah. So I'm cool bringing him back. I know people want to get rid of him. Nah, I'm cool bringing him back. Humphrey's just not a Raven to me. He plays around too much and be laughing after a loss on his podcast. I don't care about the off the field stuff. On the field, he brings it. Like Spiritual War said, he's the only one out there that consistently gets turnovers. The stuff off the field, I don't care. Right? Like this is like I mean, we don't know how he really feels just because he has a podcast, just because he does it. We don't want to hear from players when we're losing. I get that. When we're losing, we don't want to hear them talking and joking around and all that stuff, but they're humans, right? They have a life outside of football. His is just on social media. You see it more on social media, and on this podcast more than anything. But not a Raven. Yeah, he's a Raven for sure. He is a Raven. He's only ever been a Raven. And he's made a lot of good plays for us. A lot of good plays. Zach Orr's scheme ruined Marcus Williams last year. Williams was a baller when we first signed him. Facts. And we gave him $70 million. We gave him $70 million. We put a lot of money in that defense. We pay. What's going on, Reese? Marlo needs to move the nickel. I agree. Yeah. Marlo is an actual Raven. Facts. He's an actual Raven. Yes. We paid $70 million for Marcus Williams, $100 million for Roquan Smith, whatever it was for BK. We put a lot of money on that side of the ball, and a lot of draft picks. We paid $70 million for Marcus Williams just to go and draft another safety in the first round, then go and trade for another safety during the season in Alohi Gilman. Right, like. That's where the defund $98 million from Matt BK. Thank you, Game Too Easy. That's why we say defund the defense. It's not that we hate defense. We actually like defense. I'm a defensive guy, right? Charles Woodson and Ed Reed are two of my favorite players of all time. I love defense, but stop banging your head against the wall. Right? We don't have Charles Woodson on this team. We don't have Ed Reed on this team. We don't have Ray Lewis on this team. We don't have no Patrick Willis. We don't have anybody like that on this team for us to say focus on the defense to really make it a shutdown defense. There's no player like that on this team. But we had that guy on offense. We have Lamar Jackson. So you play to your strength. Lamar Jackson is the man. He is the man. You need to give him everything so he can carry us to a Super Bowl, right? But it's just this thing of, we call that trying to fit a circle into a square peg. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah, we got this dynamic player. Yeah, he can do all these amazing things, but let's not help him at all. Let's go put it on defense, and that way we don't have to do as much. No, you have to do more. You have to do more because you see the defenses that are left playing. All four of these defenses, Broncos, Patriots, Seahawks, Rams, you see how they play. If you're watching these games, do any of those teams look like our defense? Have you seen this Ravens team, especially in the playoffs? Even when Mike McDonald was here, and we had a good defense, did you see them play like any of these teams are playing now? All of these teams have made key stops, multiple turnovers, right? The Rams game, they made what? 2 major 4th down stops. We ain't never done that. We've never done that, right? So we don't expect our defense, and we don't expect our defenses to do that, right? We just expect Lamar to pick up the pieces. Well, if he has everything he needs on offense, then we can expect that. But if we're paying $70 million to a safety that we'll get rid of 2 years later, right? If we're spending a high first round pick on a safety that we're like, okay, now let's go trade for another one because he's not ready. What are we doing? But we don't want to spend the money on a wide receiver. We're saying, oh, we can't spend that much on whoever. We can't spend that much on George Pickens. Or we don't want to draft the wide receiver that high because what if he doesn't work out? Well, what happens if we draft the safety and it doesn't work out? What happens if we draft the edge rusher and it doesn't work out? Ojabo, Owe to a certain extent, right? Although I thought he was working out, just again that scheme. But we've drafted a lot. We've drafted a lot of edge rushers. That's another thing too. We're still talking about right now getting edge rusher. That's the crazy thing. When we drafted Owe, me and B said, bad pick. Y'all didn't want to hear that. Y'all was stuck on, hey, this guy ran a 4.340. He's a freak athlete. He's a little raw, but once he gets it together, he's going to dominate. And we said by the time he gets it together, y'all going to be out on him. Y'all not going to want him. It's going to take time to develop. He might develop slow. And by the time he gets to that point, you're not going to want him here anymore. And that's a waste of a first-round pick. And that's exactly what happened. We turned back around and drafted Ojabo, who did absolutely nothing for this team. We spent a third-round pick on Adisa Isaac. Done nothing for this team. These are high picks. These are all picks, first, second, and third-round picks that should be contributing to the team. And outside of Owe, they haven't. Second-round pick last year on Mike Green. So you got first, 2 seconds, and a third on edge rusher. And we're sitting here right now in January saying, we need to get an edge rusher. Let's trade for Max Crosby. Max Crosby ain't going to do nothing for this team. Nothing. Well, let me stop because we got a different coach now. He can make more of an impact, but focus on offense. And appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Says guys will look a lot more explosive now that Harv's program isn't breaking their bodies down during the week. Injuries from late week workouts are stupid. That's another thing too. And you're absolutely right. Yes, the defense will look different. And I think the defense will contribute more. But that still strengthens my argument about defunding the defense. We have a lot of talent already, right? We don't need to go out there and pick up a lot more. I'm not against it if we can fit it all under the cap. But the priority has to be offense. The priority has to be offense. If we don't do anything else to this defense, I think we have enough on that side of the ball to be an excellent defense, right? That was the expectation going into this year. That was the expectation. And that expectation was because these guys have talent. So we got a defensive-minded coach, a good defensive coach. Let him work with this talent. The King of Crank, okay, says, it's crazy Lamar has been in the NFL 8 seasons and never had a stud wide receiver in their prime. Yeah. What other top 10 quarterback has never had a stud wide receiver? Yeah. That's that. Yeah. Me and B were just talking about that. He's the only one out of these top quarterbacks that's never been given that kind of player. That's crazy. But he has the most expectation. You're talking about somebody who was drafted 30th or 31st in that draft. He was supposedly not even quarterback material, supposed to be a wide receiver, but he's outplayed all his peers. And he's the one that has the most expectation. He's the one that scrutinized the most. We were just talking about Baker Mayfield last week. Baker Mayfield was in that same draft, number 1 pick overall. Baker Mayfield is on his 13th. And we were talking about Baker Mayfield last week because he had some words about Stefanski going to Atlanta and saying how Stefanski didn't do him right and he can't wait to play him twice a year next year. And my thing is, I don't mind trash talking, and in general, I like Baker Mayfield. But at some point, man, like, when do you look in the mirror and realize you're just not that good? Right? I thought Baker Mayfield was going to have a turnaround season, have one of those MVP type years that we were expecting from him all this time. And it just didn't happen. He just, he sputtered out. And this has always been him. But where's the criticism? When has anybody ever talked about Baker Mayfield? Oh, that's a big run for Drake May. They are in the red zone or close to the red zone. All right, they're going to get some points out of this. Stidham needs to step up in the next drive. Yeah, I just, it's always been about Lamar, right? But Lamar's the only one that doesn't. Lamar's never had a Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Ibekwa, or I forget his name, Ibuka, whoever that rookie is. He's never had that type of player. He's never had Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. He's never had a Stephon Diggs. You know what I'm saying? Never had a Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and Jigba. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's never had any of these guys. But he's expected to go further than all those quarterbacks that have those guys. What's crazy is Sam Darnold, who was a third pick in that draft, I believe. What's crazy is Sam Darnold might be the first QB from the 2018 draft to make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah. And he was a bust, right? Sam Darnold is on his fourth team. Got drafted by the Jets. Went to the Panthers. Then went to Minnesota. And now he's on the Seahawks. Third overall pick. Yes. Thank you, Streambot. Says, don't forget to like and subscribe. Yes. Over 120 people in here. Appreciate y'all coming through. Hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Also, the pinned link that you see in the chat box will take you to our it'll take you to our Patreon, patreon.com/LBHTShow, right? We're trying to get our memberships up. And thank you for all the new members. For those of you that sign up for the $10 tier, the $10 tier gets you this coin. Be patient. I'm going to send it out. You know, we have a snowstorm here, so I couldn't quite get there, but that will go out hopefully this week if I can make it down the street. But you will get that coin. Make sure your addresses are up to date. If you want one of these, it's only $10 a month, right? Just sign up for the $10 tier. All right. Patreon.com/LBHTShow. But we also have $5 tiers. Listen, I shouldn't be telling you this, but a lot. We had a older coin than this, our original coin, our founder's coin. People really wanted that. What they would do is sign up for the $10 tier. They get the coin and then they drop it back down to $5. That's cool too. We're good with that. If you want a coin and you still want support after that, but you don't want to pay $10 a month, you want to do $5, that's cool. $5 gets you the overtime show, which is what people really like to see. The overtime show happens after our main show every Wednesday, 7:45 p.m. Eastern time. And it's a lot of fun. We talk about just major sports stories that we don't get to on the main show. Fun stories. Sometimes we just talk about entertainment, movies, music, whatever is hot, whatever is a hot topic and people want to talk about. We talk about some serious topics. It's a lot of fun. It's whatever you guys want. So go check it out. Patreon.com/LBHTShow. Also, if you're a channel member, you get access to that. And that's only $5 as well. Let's see what we got here. Kogan, what's going on? It says Odell pre-injury plus Landry. Yeah. We always get these guys after the fact. Charlie, what's going on? Says, how's everyone? I'm here, man. We did they get a stop? Was that fourth down? Looks like Denver got a stop. Yeah. I'm snowed in here. But it's all good. Power's still going. Fingers crossed. And we're watching some football and we're hanging out. I've been going for about 45 minutes. I'm not going to do 2 hours this time. All right. Let's see what else we got in here. Jose, what position do you think we need? It all depends. As of right now, pick your spot on O-line. We need 2 guards and probably a left tackle. A left tackle isn't as big of a need. Ronnie Stanley can still play the position, right? But we need to start thinking about replacing him at some point, right? So if we take care of that in free agency, right, which we can easily do, we can go into the draft without needing to worry about the guard position. We also need to re-sign Linderbaum. This is all contingent on us re-signing with Tyler Linderbaum. If we do all those things, I would still say tackle or go wide receiver. Or look, the only exception I'm making is if what's that running back's name from Notre Dame, Jemiah Love. If he's available, that's who you get. Look, Derrick Henry might be able to run for 1,500 yards for 3 more years. It doesn't look like he's going to slow down anytime soon. But Lamar Jackson's going to play for at least 10 more years. Okay? When Derrick Henry calls it quits, I want a guy like that in the backfield. And guess what? When Derrick Henry is here, I want a guy like that in the backfield too. Imagine Derrick Henry comes off the field and you got somebody, a Saquon Barkley type player coming onto the field. That's the type of run game that I want to see here. Right. So and if we have him and Derrick Henry comes off the field, we're not sitting there saying, why is Derrick Henry off the field? Right. Because he can be that guy too. So playmaker on offense or protection on offense. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Marcus Frazier, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Says, I feel like we're going to go all heavy on the D-line and O-line in free agency, then trade for a receiver like Jettas or Brown, and then draft the wide receiver in the first round like Carnell Tate from OSU. Okay. Well, if we're trading for Jettas, I would assume we're giving up a first round pick. Right. I don't know. I would think Brown or Jettas would go for a first round pick, but you never know, right? It all depends on, how many picks we're giving up. Maybe we give up a second and a few other picks, or later picks, and a player, they'll take that. I don't know, but I'm assuming if we do that trade, we're giving up a first round pick, and I'm okay with that too, because that's the same thing as drafting a playmaker. We're drafting sign or trade for AJ Brown or Justin Jefferson. That is essentially drafting a proven playmaker, a playmaker that we don't have any questions about. We know that they can make plays. That's better than drafting somebody. Right? I don't like getting potential over proven. I want the proven guy. So I'm good with that. If we go heavy on the D line and O line and free agency, I'm good with that too. It all depends on how they structure these deals. Again, proven over potential. All right. If we do everything we need to do on the O line going into the draft, I would feel so much better about this team. So much better about this team. And I don't care if we have to overpay. I don't care about that. Just get the guys that we know can play. That made the world of difference for the Panthers. They went and got two guards that they had to overpay for. Robert Hunt and I'm forgetting the other guy's name, but Lewis, Damian Lewis, I believe it was. Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis, and completely transformed that O-line. That can happen for us before we even reach the draft. I would feel great about this team then. Wandering Raven. Hey, shout out to Wandering Raven, man. Make sure y'all show some love to Wandering Raven, man. He's really been supporting us Ravens YouTubers, and don't think we haven't noticed, man. We really appreciate you, and thank you for that super chat. It says exactly, but I don't want to see just an investment in player personnel. I want to see it in staff too. Facts. Do offensively what they did defensively with Minter and Mike. Young offensive minds. Facts. I agree. I agree. So, yeah, I agree. Joe Cullen was somebody, you see him in the thumbnail. If you're not sure who that is, that's Joe Cullen. He used to be a defensive line coach here. They asked to interview him. He's a little bit older, and I don't mind that. But it's one of those things where, are you getting him just because you're comfortable with him? I'd rather see a younger guy there that you can kind of groom to be that defensive coordinator, right? But the mastermind here is going to be Minter, right? And Minter is young. So if we get Joe Cullen, and also, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, Joe Cullen may not be the bad. He might be the right move. He might be that coach that all he's ever going to be is a defensive coordinator. He's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to get poached. You know what I mean? That might be the move. So there'll be that level of consistency with the defense for a while. And the Patriots kicked the field goal. Good job by the Broncos for holding them to a field goal. That's a big stop, actually. That's a big stop. On the offensive side, yes, get a young guy. Yes, get some young offensive minds. I agree. Get some young offensive minds. And don't be worried if they get poached. Don't be worried about that. But try to develop a system over there. And I want to say this too. Jesse Minter is a defensive coach. Doesn't mean he doesn't know offense, right? Doesn't mean he can't put together a competent scheme. Doesn't mean that he can't find the right people. Doesn't mean he doesn't know how to replace people. Now, when the Ravens were the Ravens on defense, we have the greatest defense of all time, the 2000 Ravens. Brian Billick was our head coach. He was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings, right? And ironically, we had a terrible offense. We went through a list of defensive coordinators, right? It wasn't just Marvin Lewis here. It wasn't just Rex Ryan. We had a bunch of defensive coordinators. It didn't matter because we had the players and we had the system, right? So, and that all came from an offensive head coach. So that doesn't mean Jesse Minter can't do that for our offense. That doesn't mean he won't come in here and say, we're going to make sure that we have one of the best offenses in the league just because he's a defensive coach. In fact, it might be the opposite of what's going on now where we say, well, Lamar doesn't need that much help because he's Lamar and the offense is scoring a lot of points. We need to help on the defense. He might come in here and say, we ain't got to worry about the defense because you got me here. We got talent. You got me. I don't need to go out there and sign the best players. I know how to put players in position. Let's make sure the offense has everything that they need. So we'll see. Yes, but that is going to be key. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Jesse Minter was a wide receiver. So keep that in mind too. Yep, Jonathan Washington saying the same thing for what it's worth. Jesse was a wide receiver in his playing career. Yep. Marcus Frazier, yes. From 2000 to 2008, we lost over 20 defensive assistants during that time. Yes. And guess what? It didn't matter. It didn't matter. We were still a top defense. Yep. And God's favorite says, true, Jose, but we had a Ray Lewis. Yeah. Well, yeah, we did. We had great players. And obviously that makes a difference too. But that's also why you can't try to keep replicating that defense because they had Ray Lewis, they had Ed Reed, they had Suggs, they had Nada, right? They had a lot of great players. We don't have that. We have guys that are trying to be great. We have some guys that are really good. But if you're trying to replicate that defense, you better go do what you got to do to get those type of players. And they're not willing to do that either. Wandering Raven, thank you for another super chat. Says Love looks like a stout Reggie Bush. That's my dream pick. Yeah, he is the real deal. Can you imagine him and Derrick Henry? Like Derrick Henry is killing them all game, and then when he comes out, Jemiah Love comes in. That's the thing. That's the thing with that get defenses, hands on the hips. You got the coach on the sideline huffing and puffing like, oh man, here we go, right? Like that's how you utilize the run, right? Not just give the ball to Derrick Henry, and when Derrick Henry's cooking, we're just going to take him out for a series, right? Keep pounding the rock. That's what you got to do. Spiritual War says exactly. John wanted to have a defense first team, and since he was terrible as a defensive coordinator, he folded EDC to go heavy on defense. Yeah, he forced EDC to go heavy on defense. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think they're trying to be they're trying to keep their identity. And they said this. We don't have to guess. Like they said this, that they're trying to be a defensive team and a run heavy team. And it didn't work out that way. Like, I mean, EDC has to be to blame for this as well. You want to be a defensive first team, but you don't want to trade for the top defensive players. You don't want to trade up in the draft to get the top defensive players. You want to get who falls to you. You want to be a run heavy team, but you don't want to really stack up your O-line. You don't want to get the best running backs. I mean, we got lucky. Let's be real. We got lucky with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, we could have traded for that year we're in the AFC Championship game. We could have traded for him that year. They probably won it all. But we didn't want to give up the second round pick, right? We got him as a free agent. He could have signed anywhere else. And we got him because he was older and cheaper. If he was Derrick Henry in his prime and he had a lot of suitors and he was going to cost a lot of money, he would not have been a Raven, right? EDC's whole thing is right player, right price. This year it changed, right? Now he's saying we need to make a splash in free agency. But their philosophy versus what they practice never added up. Never added up, which is why it all came, it all blew up in the face this year because Lamar Jackson just wasn't healthy enough. And early on, when you saw what the team really looked like, what it really looked like, when you don't have a big lead in the division, you didn't already bank a bunch of wins, you had to scrap for some wins, and he's not there. You saw exactly what this team looked like, and it did not look good. And I maintain during that 1-5 stretch, that's what really lost John Harbaugh his job. See, Bashadi won't say it. He won't say it. He won't go that far. But that's when he really looked at it and said, this ain't going to work. Right? But because it was still early in the season and you had time to turn things around, and that's a good friend of his, yeah, I'm going to give him a shot to turn things around. And for a while, it looked like possibly he might do it. John does his best work when his back's against the wall. But couldn't hold up. And we missed the playoffs. And that was it. Aofan says protect Lamar and get him the ball back at least 2 more times a game and watch him work. Listen, if our defense can ever get turnovers, we will blow a lot of teams out. If they could ever like consistently get turnovers, I don't even need them to do it consistently. I just need them to do it in the playoffs. These games would not be close. God's favorite, that firing was a little late. The firing was about 8 years late. He should have been fired. Lamar's rookie season. I understand they went on a little run when he started Lamar, but you're already thinking about firing him mid-season. Go ahead and do that after the season. Go ahead and do that. Let him go. Right. He was way too late. He was way too late. He shouldn't have been the coach. And if you want to keep him along, because they did have some great years. He had an MVP season the next year. He had another MVP season a couple years ago. But maybe 2 more years to get it done. Again, like Harbaugh isn't a new coach. He's been here for a while. We've won a Super Bowl. The expectation was already set. The bar is already set. So once you got an MVP caliber player here, you're winning a bunch of games, you're a top seed, then you got to win it. And you only have a couple of times to show it before you say, okay, our window's open. You're not getting it done. You have to get somebody in here to get it done. Now, let me ask y'all this. The defending Super Bowl champions, they're not going to be Super Bowl champions this year. They're out, the Philadelphia Eagles. Their coach, do you think if they don't win a Super Bowl next year, he's still going to be the head coach? Because I feel like last year, if he didn't make the playoffs, or if he didn't win the Super Bowl, they would have gotten rid of him. Right? I feel like they would have gotten rid of him. Let's see. They just fired their offensive coordinator. Did they get a new one? I know they were looking at offensive coordinators. But yeah, Sirianni, I feel like you listen to how they talk about him, the local media, they're not fans of him. And I think if he doesn't win a Super Bowl next year, he's done. And that's crazy. Just winning one. They're like, you can go. But they did that with Doug Peterson. He won a Super Bowl. A couple years later, hey, man, this ain't working out. You got to go. That's because they're serious about winning. Jonathan Washington says, Eagles don't get attached to head coaches. He gone next year if they bow out like they did this season. Facts. Yes, agreed. Now Harbaugh should have been fired after that infamous 4th and 12 versus the Bengals in 2017. That was crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. If Lamar puts up 50 plus a game and 2+ Super Bowls, they would say it's gaudy stats and unsportsmanlike. Yeah. Yeah. That's always going to be the case. And that's fine, but it don't matter at that point. If Lamar gets one Super Bowl, right now he's a Hall of Famer. Right now he's a Hall of Famer, but he gets a Super Bowl on his resume. You're always going to have haters, but it doesn't matter, right? Like you can't take that away. He'll be a Super Bowl champion, at least a 2-time MVP. Just wouldn't matter. Oh, and a flea flicker that worked. It was almost a fumble. And the Patriots look like they are in or close to the red zone. They're about to put this away. Well, it's still third quarter. It's still third quarter. Let's see if they actually get into the end zone. If they settle for a field goal, they still leave the door wide open. If they score a touchdown, that's going to be pretty tough for the Broncos. And then it will go back to the field goal that they didn't kick when they are right there before the snow started coming down. This is going to be this is going to be a big stretch. Oh, okay, they're at the 31. They're at the 31. So this is going to be a big stand right here for the Broncos. No one wants to coach under Sirianni. Yeah, it looks like they're struggling to get an OC. Peyton blew this game. Yeah, he did. Some bad situational calls. You don't go for it on 4th and 1. I get it's tempting because you're right there. But you don't go for it with your backup quarterback. You don't. You just take the points. If you took the points, it's tied right now. Other than that first quarter, Stidham's been quiet. Yeah. Yep. And they missed the field goal. Oh, wait, did they miss a field goal now? Is that what you're saying? You guys, I think you guys are ahead of me. I'm watching this on those E streets. Okay. Don't tell nobody. If Pats make the Super Bowl, I think whoever comes out the NFC will be too much for them. Yeah, whoever makes it to the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be the Seahawks, and I think they're going to win it. They're going to win it all. But even if it's the Rams, I think the Rams win it again. So, no, she's saying that the Broncos missed a field goal. Yeah, they did miss a field goal. They had a field goal they should have taken, and then they also missed a field goal. Like they could be up right now. They could be up right now, but at the very least, they should be tied. Seattle's winning it all, in your opinion? Yeah, I think so too. But they have a tough matchup with the Rams. But I think so. And okay, they're going for a field goal now. Y'all tell me in the chat. You tell me in the chat. He's about to kick it right now. Yeah, it's 20 seconds left in the quarter. And where are they kicking from? I think the 30. And no good. No good. It's still a 3-point game. Listen, man. Listen. You on the road. You're on the road. I know it's Jarrett Stidham, but it's Denver. It's Mile High. That snow's coming down hard too. You can mess this up. Like that defense is hyped up. Hey, in the fourth quarter, the Broncos can still hit. All right. Don't let them put together a nice drive and get some points. That's going to be a problem for you guys. So this game is far from over. What's this commercial? Christopher Nolan's got a new movie out. Is this that Odyssey movie with Matt Damon? Have you guys seen this commercial? Yeah, it is. That's what it is. The Odyssey. I want to check this out. I wonder how long it's going to be. Is it going to be like a 3-hour movie? Yeah, the movie looks good. What's going on, Luke? Yeah. Other than the weather, there is no logical reason as to why McDaniels would choose LA over Baltimore. It could be weather. I mean, yes, you look at the quarterback, you see a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, and you think, man, the things I could do with that type of player. Yes. Um, but that's not always a factor for coaches, you know. Um, do you have a relationship with that, that coaching staff? I think that's the main thing, right? How well do you know the coaching staff? Who do you like? What I'm saying? Like, it's no different from us looking at jobs. There's some jobs that you look at and say, man, I wouldn't mind working there. That looks like a dope job. But what are the people like? You know what I'm saying? What are the people like? Are they people that you can work with? Are they people that are going to let you do the things that you want to do on offense? I don't know all the details to it. Maybe when he interviewed here and he talked to the staff and he got the feeling that they're going to want him. I mean, I know he coached for he interviewed for a head coaching job, but maybe he got the feel that they're looking just to be a run heavy team still, and he wants to be more of a passing team. And when he went to LA, they're like, hey man, we want to light up the air, light up the sky, make it happen. That would be more important than who the quarterback is. And they got a good quarterback over there, right? They have a good quarterback. He's not Lamar Jackson, but they have a good quarterback. So, I mean, I don't know. And yes, and listen, man, I'm stuck in this house, right? We're snowed in. Weather does matter. Maybe he says, man, I don't want to be stuck in my house one day, because we got a snowstorm. I want to get out and do what I want to do. The weather does matter for sure. If Minter hires Roman, then he can take his ass back to LA for real, for real. Roman's not coming back here. G-Ro is not coming back here under any circumstances. There hasn't even been a rumor of that. He is gone. All right. They just fired him from LA. I don't think he's sitting there saying, man, let me get that guy over here. Okay, if he comes back, it might be running backs coach. It might be a position coach, right? But he's not running the offense. No way. And plus, look, that's one of those things like this. Lamar still hasn't redone his deal, right? Like, you're still trying to make sure he's comfortable with who they bring in. He's not going to say, yeah, I'm cool with G-Ro. No, of course not. Yeah, everyone on offense would immediately demand a trade. Yeah. Who do you guys think? Let me ask you, who do you guys think will be the offensive coordinator? Who do you guys think will be the offensive coordinator? Kingsbury has been floated out there, although I think that's just I don't think that's going to be the case. I know people want Shieldhouse, but who do you think will be? I know they're saying Mike McDaniel hasn't signed his deal with the Chargers yet, and that's still in play. Who do you think, though? Who do you think, hey, realistically, this could be the guy? Joe Brady, maybe? Yep. Just Al. He said, some old guy. I think Brady would be OC. But Joe Brady ain't old. I think Brady and Minter might be around the same age. And I think Joe Brady's a solid coordinator. I think he's solid. Shieldhouse. You think it's going to be Shieldhouse? Hey, listen. The Browns really like Shieldhouse. They want him to be the head coach. I think it's a matter of, does he want to be the head coach there, or will he say, nah, I'll be an offensive coordinator somewhere else, like the Ravens. If he doesn't take that job, I could see Shieldhouse being the offensive coordinator here, and that would be great. Mike McDaniel, okay? Dresden says McDaniel, he's keeping the hope alive. Game Too Easy says, Brady's scheme looked too much like Todd's. Todd wasn't bad, though. If they would have kept Todd Monken here under a different head coach, I'm fine with it. I think, listen, is Todd Monken great? No. I think he's better. I don't think he did bad. Let's get that out the way. I don't think he did bad. I think he's even better than what we got to see under John Harbaugh. He was working with one of the worst O-lines in the league. He's being handcuffed by a head coach that won't let him play his star player in key moments, right? And it's clear that's John Harbaugh. That's a John Harbaugh thing. It happened under every coordinator that played here. We asked the question, why isn't this guy in the game? Why aren't we running the ball? Why aren't we doing this? This all predated Todd Monken being here. So I think under a different head coach, you get a different Todd Monken. And the Todd Monken that we had here wasn't bad. I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't have been mad at it. You're right. Brady isn't that old. He's pretty good. Yeah. I think he's solid. I'd be good with Joe Brady. If we somehow land Mike McDaniel for OC, it'll be for one reason only: Lamar Action Jackson. Yeah. Because McDaniel wants to be a head coach again, I think, and I think he wants to put himself in the best position to do that. Oh, it's 3rd and 5, and he did not catch the ball. That's good defense. They're gonna punt this away. Man, that snow was really coming down. Let's see. Should they have caught it? That's good defense. That was a good play. Let's see. Whoever it is, we need to make sure there is a head coaching experience in the building, like Mike McDaniel did with Leslie Frazier. Okay. Monken, has anybody noticed how selective these coaches are being with their next jobs? Oh yeah. I mean, I think you have to be. You have to be. Like Steve Bisciotti spoke about this during the press conference when he talked about taking everybody into consideration and not writing off coaches that were hot candidates the last cycle around and got fired because they were put in bad situations, right? I think some of these coaches can be good head coaches or are good head coaches, but they weren't in the best situations. And I think Robert Saleh might be one of those coaches. I don't know for sure, but I don't think he was doing a terrible job with the Jets, but the Jets has terrible ownership, absolutely terrible ownership. Aaron Glenn has no chance to succeed over there. And I like Aaron Glenn. And maybe Aaron Glenn isn't head coach material, but we're not going to know based off of that job. We're not going to know based off of that job, right? Nobody succeeds with the Jets, right? Some places, and the Dolphins are the same way. The Dolphins are just a trash organization. Has nothing to do with the players or some of the coaches that go through there, but they're just set up to fail. So yeah, you got to be selective. And look, the Browns, I've been saying for years, that the Browns, they have a lot of talent, and if they can figure out the quarterback situation, they're going to be very good. And I was one of the people that thought it was the absolute right move to give Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed contract. At the time, Deshaun Watson was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And the only thing that was missing from that team was a quarterback. So you outbid everybody. You give him a fully guaranteed contract. And I said, yeah, man, there's no regrets there. You do what you got to do. You got to be aggressive when you've been bad for so long and you have all this talent. And the only thing that you're missing is quarterback, and you haven't gotten it right in the draft. You go and make that happen. But I also said it would be the most Brown thing in the world if he got over here, if he got over to the Browns and he just couldn't play anymore. And that's pretty much what happened. All right. They just, and now I don't know. Like I said, you got most of your O-line as free agents. I don't know what their plan is to fix that. I don't know. They're a mess. Quarterback situation's a mess. I wouldn't want to take that job either. Just Alice says, I will love to have McDaniel, but these guys usually have a gentleman's agreement. I think McDaniel's rep would take a hit if he came here. Yes, usually yes. But, looking at the Patriots, what's his name? What's the offensive coordinator's name? He's been a head coach before. Is it his name McDaniel too? Josh McDaniel. He was a Raiders head coach. Didn't work out there. He agreed to be the Colts head coach. And then at the very last second, I'm talking about when they're going to announce him as a head coach, he backed out. The staff was already hired. Like, he put them in a very bad situation. The staff was already hired. They're going to announce him, and he said, "No, I don't want to take the job. Don't want to take the job. Psych. I'm going to go back and be offensive coordinator in New England." And that didn't kill his rep. I think now, like, he shouldn't get another head coaching job, but I think he'll probably end up being a head coach again at some point. It all depends on who you know. But I don't think McDaniel would do that. You know, I don't think he would. I think he's still looking to see what offers he has as a head coach, but I think he'll end up going to LA. It's not a mess. They have Shador. He balled with 0 first-team reps behind a terrible O-line and bad receivers. All he really had was a tight end. His O-line wasn't terrible. He's got Jerry Jeudy there. The receivers weren't terrible. This isn't true. And he had a really good running back, Quishon Judkins, until he got hurt. They're not completely void of talent there. I don't agree with that. And Shador didn't ball. He didn't ball out. I don't think he was the worst, but Shador needs a lot of work. Shador is one of those guys. That's why I said earlier. Spiritual war. It depends on how you feel about Shador if you're a coach. If you look at his tape and say, yeah, there's something to work with here, we can develop him, then you can take the job. But if you're not that high on him, because there are some things that he needs to work on, and I just don't know. Like you have to be in a room with them to see, kind of get a feel for him to see if he's the type of player that's going to work on those things. There's some definite flaws in his game that can be coached out of him, but he has to take that next step. Jerry Jeudy led the league in drop passes, and the O-line was caught taking dives. I don't know what you mean by caught taking dives. I'm not sure what you mean by that. But even if they took dives, they weren't worse than us. They weren't worse than the Raiders, right? No, I don't think they were that bad. I don't think they're that bad. Shador looks like young Josh Allen, just dumb turnovers. Yes. It's the decision making, right? So again, like, yes, you have to be able to look at him and say, I can work with that and I can fix that, and I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to put my career on that. Because that's the other thing too. If you're a first-time head coach, are you willing to risk your career on Shador? Right? Or your job, at least? You're going to tie your, because there's no help coming for them. Not for about at least 2 or 3 more years in terms of quarterback. There's no other plan to get another quarterback in there. Right? Not top tier quarterback. It has to be Shador. Are you willing to risk your job your first time as a head coach on that? For the Browns? I don't think so. At least Shador is a rookie. Allen still does it after 8 years. Oh man, that hurts. You're right though. You're right. I like Josh, man, but dang, 4 turnovers in the game. Can't excuse that. I just hope Ravens can muster an offense that is competent if Lamar gets hurt. Let's just hope he doesn't get hurt. Let's just hope that. Hey, I tell you what though, if you have, anybody can. If you have a good offensive line, if you actually, developed your O-line and you built a good line can make a lot of things look good. A stout O-line, and it's hard to put together that type of O-line, but you've built a wall, you can make a lot of players look good. Not just the quarterback. The running back can look amazing. Your wide receivers can look amazing because they have all time to get open, right? Everybody can look good. Everybody can eat off an excellent O-line. So that needs to be a priority. That's why I would say put all your resources into building a wall, and you'll see that will amplify everything. Lamar in a Shanahan style offense wouldn't even be fair to the league. Yeah. Do we consider McVay a Shanahan guy? Is he a Shanahan guy? because he did coach under. I mean, yeah, he was under. He was under. Well, I mean, yeah, he coached under not Kyle Shanahan, but Mike Shanahan. So I guess so. I guess so. But yeah, that would be something. Yeah, he's a Mike Shanahan guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that snow is really coming down now. It is 1st and 10 for the Broncos. I don't even know where they're at. But that was a good first run. They got a first down. It's 10-7. 11 minutes left in the fourth. This is not looking good for the Patriots. They're up 3 right now, but they are not showing the ability to score. And even though, yes, it's Jarrett Stidham and he's turned the ball over and you feel like you can stop him, they're at home. They only need to put together one inspired drive. We'll see. It's still a lot of time left. But this game is a lot closer than it should be. A lot closer. Oh, they didn't give him the first down on that one. That's crazy. I thought he had the first down. All right. And they stopped him on second down. So it's third. All right. Okay. All right. Third down. These are 2 excellent defenses, by the way. It's a simple fixes for the offense. EDC has the easiest job and still F's it up. Facts. EDC has not done a great job here. I can't call him a good GM. He's getting the opportunity now to turn things around and change his image, but he has done an awful job, in my opinion. Like, it shouldn't have been that hard. Even when the coaching isn't great, you can get more talent. Like he didn't invest in the O-line. Like, I can't sit there and say, like, Steve Bisciotti was being nice by saying, hey, the O-line didn't progress the way they should have. What were you expecting from a 7th round pick? That was hurt. I'm talking about Andrew Voorhees. What were you expecting from him? He was a 7th round pick for a reason. And it wasn't because of injuries. He wasn't that good. What were you expecting from a 4th round pick in Daniel Falele? Right? That's not making a huge investment in your O-line. Yes, you spent a 2nd round pick in Roger Rosengarten. We spent the 1st round pick in Tyler Linderbaum. 1st round pick in Ryan Stanley, but that was a previous GM. That wasn't EDC. We spent the least amount of money in the league on offensive line. We didn't even want to pay Kevin Zeitler to come back, who didn't make a lot of money. Right? How much of an investment are you making? How much are you putting into this O-line? And they know O-line is important. They just don't care. Well, they care. Well, they care now. They care now. Right? Let's see. I'm seeing some bad things in the chat. Peyton blew this game again. Got cute again. It's 2nd and 10 on my screen. Let's see what they do. Oh, well, that wasn't a good screen. I don't like that. This past draft was deep in the trenches, and we chose to invest in the secondary again. Facts. Like, we went into that draft knowing that we needed an offensive line. In fact, hey, you can go watch. We multi-streamed with Coach. We said it then when we drafted Malachi Starks. Me and B were like, "Nah, it's a bad pick. Where's the O-line? Where's the O-line? We ain't got Mike Green, and I think those two will both be good players. But where's the O-line? And a lot of people are like, hey, Voorhees is going to be good. Falele is going to be good. Based on what? What were you basing on? We argued with a lot of people. A lot of people bought it, drank the Kool-Aid on Voorhees, especially saying he's gonna be good. They really like Voorhees. I know they're telling you they like Voorhees, but based on what? He has no tape. The very little tape that that you have on him wasn't good, right? He got to start a couple of games last year, then he got hurt, and then never got his job back. And that's the extent to his tape, to what you see on him. Why'd you feel good about him? Daniel Falele looked bad last year. Why do you feel good about him? You know, they were being lazy. They were coaching lazy, and they were GMing lazy, right? EDC. And now that one is fired, the other one woke up and said, I better do my job before I'm out of a job next year. How did EDC watch that Super Bowl last year and say, we need more DBs? Just being stubborn and being lazy. That's all it is. That's all it is. All right, y'all. I've been going for 1 hour and 25 minutes. I said no 2 hours, and I mean it. But do me a favor before you get out of here. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. If you watch the replay of this, there may not be a hype button. You guys see these hype buttons on these streams now, or these videos? They're not on live streams, but on replays they have the little hype button. Hit the hype button. That helps promote the video in the channel. Any thoughts on Bad Bunny halftime show? No. It's a halftime show. I don't really care. Bad Bunny. I like Bad Bunny in general. He's cool. You know, he was dope in WWE. I mean, I don't even watch it like that anymore. My kids watch it, but when he performed, that was dope. He went out there and wrestled. He really got into it. Stay safe out there. Yes, God's favorite. Stay safe. Stay safe. Khalil says it says a lot about Harbs if he doesn't try to sign 77 after he almost got Lamar killed. Oh yeah. We know what it is. We know what it is. They knew what they were doing. They just figured Lamar will be healthy enough and he'll make enough plays to where we don't have to worry about that. Let's try to, and it's not even them hating on Lamar, right? I think it's just one of those things where they feel like Lamar can make it work, but let's really pour into the defense to try to build a defense that we think we can build because we want to be right. That's all it is. We want to be right. Well, we want to be right about our guys. We want to be right about our philosophy. And we don't ever want to say, hey, maybe it's time to change things. Maybe we got this wrong. They just don't want to admit that, or they didn't want to admit that. Now EDC, he's got no shame about it now. Now he can say, all right, maybe I need to go out there and get some talent before I'm fired too. All right, y'all. That's it. We are out of here. Turning notification bells on. We should be here tomorrow morning, 6:15 a.m. Granted, we have power and everything is well. Gary McCoy says, hey, brother, what you think of the Ravens take Eon? I can't pronounce the name. I know you're talking about the guy from Penn State with the 14th pick. I'm good with that too. I'm good with that too. And in fact, I think Chris Just Joking from the Deep Cover podcast is really high on him. I think so. I think Chris said that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. O-line. That's the theme for this offseason. All right. Catch us in the morning. Enjoy the rest of this game. It's still a lot of football left. And then there's another game after this, the Seahawks and the Rams, to see who's going to the Super Bowl. So y'all be safe out there. We'll see you in the morning. Peace.